If I had a nickel for every time I heard someone say, the problem with money is, well, I'd have a lot of nickels. If there is a problem with money, what are those issues? And more importantly, if there is a problem with money, what are the solutions? Let's take a deep dive today and see if we can cash out. I'm randomly going to select 100 of you to receive your own gold-plated coin. I used to carry around a gold coin kind of similar to this one right here. Not to spend, but because it reminded me of wealth. And it was a symbol for me of what was to come and what I could achieve financially. As a thank you for your support, I want to give you a little piece of motivation to remind you of what you can achieve and the results that you can get in life. So, when this channel hits 500 subscribers, I'm randomly going to select 100 of you to receive your own gold-plated coin. These coins are real currency from around the world that have been plated in 100 mils of fine gold. Now, this might not make you rich, but it just might give you enough inspiration, as sometimes just holding a little bit of wealth in your hands can make you feel a certain way and drive you to go out and achieve the best results. My hope is that you not only achieve all of your financial goals, but also that you then take that knowledge and go out and pass it back to the world. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, like this video, and you are automatically in the running. One thing I've always known is that it's better for me to control my money than for my money to control me. I know that that's easier said than done. Recently, I read a survey online, and it said that 52% said that money was a top concern and that it was starting to affect their mental health. Now, of course, money problems can be a huge stressor. What are some of the things we might say if we look at the phrase, the problem with money is? The problem with money is I never seem to have enough. That's a big one. The problem with money is it all goes too quickly once I get my paycheck. The problem with money is I simply don't make enough. My employer is not paying me a high enough wage and I need to make more money. See, there's a lot of problems that we can see that surround money. What if it's a little bit more of a complex situation? I mean, the problem with money could be high interest in our society. The problem with money could be inflation. It could be a bad economy. Maybe times are just really, really tough. And of course, the problem with money could just be wealth inequality. I mean, there's the have and the have-nots. There's the people who seem to work and make a ton of money, and the rest of us who seem to be in the trenches, working day after day in the cubicles, stressing out, trying to just get to the end of the week and collect our check. So let's look at the biggest problems surrounding the problem with money. Number one in my book would be debt. We are lured into a lot of debt in our society, and you do it unknowingly, but we get lured in by the idea of what we can afford to pay based on the payment. So it's not truly what we can afford, it's truly the payment we can afford. Let me explain. If you're shopping for a car and you realize that my car's done, I really need to spend money on a car. I don't want to spend money, but I'm going to have to spend some money on a car very soon. And you give yourself a budget. I'm not going to spend more than $12,000, let's say. And when you go to the dealer and you start talking to them, they're going to convince you that a $12,000 car is no good. You went in with that number. You know your budget, you know your finances, but they're going to say, well, a $12,000 car, that's not going to be reliable. That's going to be about as reliable as what you have now, and you came in seeking a new car. But we've got these great cars, used but low miles and totally killer, but they're $29,000. If I told you I could get you into that car and your payment was only going to be $675 a month, what would you think about that? So you start to look at the sale in a whole different way. You don't look at the big number anymore. You just look at the payment that you think you can afford. Of course, car trouble is some of the biggest debt that we get into in our society today because we're not looking at the bigger picture. We're looking at that little tiny picture that they've now slid across the table on a piece of paper, and it looks very affordable. See, if you went to the dealer and you were looking to buy a $12,000 car, and let's say you didn't have much of a deposit, but maybe you've saved up $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Well, my way of handling that would be negotiate that $12,000 car, maybe down to $9,000 or $10,000, maybe even $11,000, right? But you get a little bit of a discount on the car. You use your $3,000 or $4,000, right, as deposit. Now you only have a $7,000 balance, which you can eat up in the course of a year because you're the type of person who budgets and saves money. Now you're going to have a lower payment. You're going to get that car paid off very quickly, and you're going to have worked within the parameters of what you can truly afford. Very few people are doing that right now, which is why we're seeing so much debt. They're more concerned with the payment number than they are with what they can afford. So they end up buying something very expensive that they cannot afford because the payment looks good. The second thing that would be a big problem as the problem with money and why we would think like that is just insufficient savings. People aren't saving money like they did years ago. We're caught up in this lifestyle where we think we need every single dollar we make just to go out and get the things that we want. So we're not saving because we are in spending mode. If we've created money, it is for spending. It literally is burning a hole in our pockets as a society, and we have to go out there and spend. So our savings accounts are very little. I remember when I was a kid and you'd go into the bank, I'd go in with my dad, the tellers or the banker would always sit down when he was talking to my dad, and he would look over at me and say, "How much money have you got in savings?" See, it was a big thing to open up a savings account and save money and watch your money grow. Today, we have less of that thinking going on and a lot more of the spender mentality. And that leads us to the third problem with money, which is a major one, and that is general overspending. See, today, everyone is just trying to live a life. We see what everybody else is doing online, and they're driving a fancy car or taking a great vacation or in some restaurant eating this outstanding meal, and everything gets posted and pushed out there online, and we develop FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. I think my life is not as great as the lives that I'm witnessing here online. Everyone else seems to be vacationing and driving great cars and doing all kinds of amazing things, and I am missing out. It's basically the keeping up with the Joneses, right? So we start to think, I need to spend more money on these things in order to be able to have this outstanding life. The thing you're not realizing is most of those people don't have an outstanding life. They have outstanding debt. It leads us back to the first problem. They are spending money on credit cards. They're eating out too much. They're driving cars that are more expensive than they can afford. So, of course, the insurance is higher, the payments are higher, the maintenance is higher. All of this is costing them. So pretty much they're just bleeding themselves of every dime they make and then going into debt for the rest, meaning using credit cards, using loans, using payday loans, even some very, very bad stuff to keep that lifestyle out there in the public view. You are better off learning how to deal with money. So if these are the problems, what is the solution? The solution definitely is financial literacy. What exactly does that mean? Financial literacy is you getting good with money through education, is constantly learning about money, learning about your money. You know how to make it. Well, how about how to keep it? How about how to retain it? So there are steps to that too. What might we do in our language of financial literacy and our learning? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to create a budget. There's so many programs. There's different apps. There's books. There's talks like the one you're watching right now. You can even go back and look at any of our videos in which we talk about how to create a budget. And the beauty of a budget is that you get to create it. You divide those funds up into the different categories that work for you. But you have to use the amounts that work in order to make your budget work for you. And then you have to stick to it. That seems to be the bigger problem. A lot of people go online and they get really fancy information and think they know how to create a budget, but they never really stick to it. The second thing would be you have to have a dedicated savings, right? If you're going to budget, then somewhere in those lines is savings, is a POM, a peace of mind account, where you're putting money away and really having savings. We're getting back to how we thought many years ago when I was sitting behind that banker's desk as a child and he was asking me about what I had in savings. It was a big deal. Everybody really focused in on their savings and having money for their future. Today, everyone seems to want to just live for the now and live the highest profile life that they can that everyone around them will be impressed with. And that's literally costing them their future. You are spending your future self's money now for the keeping up with the Joneses part of life. And the third part of this is you want to live within your means. So once you learn how to budget and you have a dedicated savings line, then all you have to do is live within your means. If you do those three things and you do them for a long time, then you can move on to the most fun and exciting category, which is becoming an investor. Now you can invest in your future. You can invest in property. You can invest in the stock market. You can invest in anything you want that you feel will better your life and help you make money. But just generally, you can be an investor. Maybe you're just going to buy and sell stuff. Maybe you're going to flip things. But the point is, if you don't have any extra money to do that because you haven't budgeted, you haven't saved, and you haven't lived below your means for a long period of time, then you can never get to investing. The idea behind this is that it works so well that all you have to do now is rinse and repeat and do it again. You can alter your budget. You can change your budget. Maybe as one line, you pay off a car, you pay off a home, you pay off a property. Maybe you have more money to put into saving. Maybe you have more money to put into your long-term investing, your retirement. The point is, when you budget and you save and you live within your means and then you invest, all you have to do is just keep rinsing and repeating. You alter the numbers a little bit and you literally create a life that is outstanding, not only today, but tomorrow. So this is what you want to think about. I don't want you saying in the future, the problem with money is. I want you saying, the great thing about money is I have plenty of money in savings. The great thing about money is I have tons of investments that are making me money while I sleep. The great thing about money is I know I'm not going to run out in my retirement. See, I don't want you thinking about what the problem with money is. I want you thinking about what the great thing about money is. My name is Daniel F. Margasa. You are watching The Almost Criminal Millionaire. And if you enjoy learning about the topics of finance, money, and the health and wealth of your bank account, then please like and subscribe for more.